window today, which means that we will launch when the orbital path for the ISS aligns with the Space Coast. Once we get into orbit, Starliner will be working to catch up with the space station, eventually reaching speeds of more than 17,500 miles per hour. It'll take about 25 hours or so to get there. And we are going to be watching here any minute
minus 11 minutes.
for the crew access
Arm
arm.
control, so the crew access arm for launch.
Roger.
Right on cue. Crew access arm about to start moving away from the spacecraft. And Dylan, we will watch it move very slowly today, but it could move much faster if needed.
That's right, Lauren. It takes about 2 minutes to rotate the 120 degrees back away from Starliner to its stowed position and latched position on the crew access tower. Here we go. But we could, in the event of an emergency, redeploy it in less than 15 seconds.
It's amazing that it can do that. We hope to not have to ever see that happen. After liftoff today, Brandy and Jim will continue commentary from Houston through ascent, spacecraft separation, and the orbital insertion burn. We will have the shot of Butch and Sunny inside Starliner until the moment of launch, and then we will get it again when we get to the ISS.
minus 10 minutes.
Flight, verify CST 100 on internal power.
Verified.
Starliner, configure ordnance for launch.
Touch and win.
All right, the spacecraft is running completely on its own now. And they are configuring ordnance for launch. That means the devices that initiate our separation events are ready to support both nominal and contingency operations that happen or could happen during ascent.
So, Lauren, we're just about 2.5 minutes now away from our terminal count status check. The terminal count status check is the final report from each operator indicating that their system, whether it be a ground control system or a launch vehicle system, is ready to execute the final 4 minutes of the countdown to launching the rocket. At this point, if there were an issue, the anomaly team would be discussing it, but nothing like that has happened right now. All's quiet. I am expecting to hear all members of the team report go when pulled by Chief Launch Conductor Doug Lebo.
And we're actually hearing on a side channel that they are preparing for the launch vehicle systems poll. This is the long one. A lot of people view this as their favorite poll. It's kind of fun to listen to them list off each system, and then that team will give a final go or no go for launch. And we will be able to watch cameras on the rocket today, and live telemetry feeding back will provide a real-time look at the spacecraft model when video isn't possible during the ascent as it moves through the dynamic phases.
minus 8 minutes.
Under 8 minutes before Butch and Sunny head back to a place they consider home. Both of them have spent 2 different stints of about 6 months on the International Space Station, and they are thrilled to be going back for a 3rd time. Sunny told me she even cried the last time she left the space station because she didn't know if she would ever go back. So this flight is a dream for her.
LC arm control.
Go ahead.
Crew access arms stowed for launch.
Roger. LC switch to ready position. All steps are complete prior to status check.
Let's listen in to Chief Launch Conductor Doug Lebo conduct that final terminal count status check as we prepare for launch.
minus 7 minutes.
Status check to proceed with terminal count. Atlas systems, propulsion.
Go.
Hydraulics.
Go.
Pneumatics.
Go.
LO2.
Go.
Water.
Go.
Centaur systems, propulsion.
Go.
Pneumatics.
Go.
LO2.
Go.
LH2.
Go.
Has gas.
Go.
Electrical systems, airborne.
Go.
Ground.
Go.
Facility.
Go.
RFFTS.
Go.
Flight control.
Go.
GCQ.
Go.
Op support.
Go.
COM.
Go.
Umbilicals.
Go.
Arm control.
Go.
ECS.
Go.
Redline monitor.
Go.
Quality.
Go.
Op Safety Manager.
Go.
ULA Safety Officer.
Go.
Vehicle System Engineer.
Go.
Anomaly Chief.
Go.
Range Coordinator.
Clear to proceed.
Flight Director.
Houston flight is go.
Starliner.
Starliner, go.
Launch Director.
You have permission to launch.
Proceeding with the count. ALC, verify T0 is set for 14:52:15 Zulu.
Verified.
Starliner, net is clear.
Thank you, LC. For everybody listening, just a thought. Sonny and I, as we were traveling to the pad, we saw many American flags, and many of you were waving flags at us. And then as we reached the pad, we look up, and of course there's that American flag on the side of the White Room, also one on the side of the rocket itself. And we know that that represents unity and resilience and unified efforts for the common good. And that's what Sonny and I have witnessed this last month. Each of you displaying what this nation's forefathers envisioned, a people committed to God, family, and country, a people who use their gifts and talents for the common good, and are passionate and tough. And we all know that when the going gets tough, and it often does, the tough get going. And you have. And Sonny and I are honored to share this dream of spaceflight with each and every one of you. So with that, LC, let's get going. Now let's put some fire in this rocket, and let's push it to the heavens where all these tough Americans have prepared it to be.
Let's go, Calypso. Take us to space and back.
LC flight, Starliner configured for terminal count. On my mark,
Roger.
the time will be T-minus 4 minutes and counting. 3, 2, 1, mark.
Clocks have
3:55.
resumed for
Ground
on-time
power is enabled.
liftoff.
Just beautiful words from Butch there. No better example of unity on this planet than what happens at the International Space Station, where Butch and Sonny are headed in just 3 minutes and 30 seconds.
3:30.
Atlas hydraulics at flight fresh.
Atlas boosters hydraulic steering systems now pressurized for launch.
Starliner's LAS prop valves are configured for launch, the propulsion valves that need to be open in the case of an abort from the pad.
3 minutes.
Pressurizing Atlas tanks. Securing LO2 topping.
250. FTS internal.
Flight software is in ascent mode. It is now set for the uphill climb.
$159. Vehicle internal. 155. Launch sequencer start. 150.
Securing Centaur LH2.
Securing Centaur LO2.
Vehicle is now transferred to its onboard batteries, and topping is
140.
completed.
Launch enabled. 137. FTS armed. 120. OCU's armed.
FCS count started. EDS ascent.
Starliner, last arm to auto.
Last arm auto.
Roger.
That call meaning if the emergency detection system on Atlas
minute.
detects something,
Rock report range status.
Range green.
It will
54.
POP started.
it will trigger the launch abort system on Starliner and fire automatically. If that happened, the spacecraft would push itself away from the rocket a mile up and a mile
Warning.
out.
Atlas at flight press.
30.
Centaur at flight press.
25.
Status check.
Go Atlas. Go Centaur.
Go Starliner. Godspeed, Butch and Sonny.
Roll on.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Ignition. And liftoff of Starliner and Atlas V, carrying 2 American heroes, drawing a line to the stars for all of us.
Commander Butch Wilmer, they're calling down to Mission Control here in Houston that the spacecraft has begun rolling into the right attitude for its ascent. The Guidance, Navigation, and Control Officer here in the room seeing good data on that.
Starliner passing through max Q, or the point of maximum dynamic pressure where the forces of air friction are highest, which in Sunny will shortly be passing through Mach 1, where the speed of sound.
You got a good throttle up.
Good try.
Starliner and Atlas. Looking good with speeds and attitude increasing as expected. Coming up in less than 20 seconds, the solid rocket boosters will run out of fuel and burn out.
Good SRB burnout.
Good SRB.
Now that the fuel in the solid rocket boosters has been depleted, the Atlas main booster stage will be continuing its burn for about the next 3 minutes.
Good handle.
Good handle.
That call, good handle from Capcom Joshua Kutrick, indicating that the crew now has the ability to initiate an abort manually if needed. All looking good so far. Now 2 minutes into Starliner's flight and coming up on the solid rocket booster jettison at the 2-minute and 40-second mark.
CLG and net, good trajectory.
CLG.
The solid rocket boosters have now been jettisoned after seeing Starliner through its first 90 seconds of flight. Team on the ground here confirming that it was a good jettison and that the vehicle's trajectory continues to look good. Now 3 minutes into today's flight.
Atlas booster now throttling back to limit the G-forces on Butch and Sunny, trying to limit that to around 3.5 times the force of gravity you would feel while on the ground.
Staging.
Here in the ground.
Decals open. You have sublimator act.
Decal sub-act. Great Atlas.
Team on the ground reporting that they saw the ascent cover on top of Starliner that's been protecting the spacecraft's docking system through its climb into orbit. They saw that jettison as planned.
Staging was good. You have good control.
And now
Good
the second stage's 2 Centaur engines have ignited to continue pushing Starliner into space, fueled by liquid hydrogen and liquid oxygen. The next milestone that we'll be watching for is the aeroskirt jettison.
Starliner, you had good booster performance. You're up to plus 31.
Plus 31.
Atlas Control reporting booster performance offset of 31 seconds of ISP, or specific impulse, relative to its design baseline of around 450.
All continuing to perform well, almost 7 minutes into today's flight.
Good Centaur.
Good Centaur.
Capcom Joshua Kutrick continuing to pass good news up to Starliner's crew. That last one reporting that the Centaur upper stage remains in good condition and is performing well, pushing them into orbit.
St. John's open.
St. John's.
Starliner is now entering its first guided abort range, where Starliner would direct itself towards a specific location in the event of abort. In this case, just off the coast of St. John's, the capital of the Canadian province of Newfoundland Labrador.
Starliner MECO converged 11:5 to 11:52. Good perf, you're at 34 to 36 seconds.
11:52, 34 seconds.
That call letting the crew know that the main engine cutoff, MECO, should happen just about on time, about 12 minutes into today's flight. Another good indication that Starliner's ascent is taking along exactly as expected. Main engine cutoff is a major milestone marking Starliner's arrival on orbit. Still got about 2.5 minutes until we get to that, with the spacecraft continuing to perform well, make its way towards orbit.
No action, Starliner, on the LCL. That's just the system coming up into controlling mode.
Outstanding. No action.
Once the main engine is cut off, the next step will be the launch vehicle separation. That's set to occur just short of 15 minutes after launch, when Starliner will separate from the rocket and fly free in space for the first time. Flight Dynamics officer reporting that at this point, Starliner could potentially make an abort landing off the coast of Ireland.
Good cooling.
And they're, again, all continuing well, so we're not expecting to need that abort.
As Starliner is rapidly approaching orbital velocity, the abort region is only available for just over 1 minute, where Starliner would just continue up to orbit after that.
Thirty seconds to MECO.
Just 30 seconds to go. Now until main engine cutoff, marking Starliner's arrival on orbit.
Nominal MECO, Starliner.
Nominal MECO.
And with that nominal MECO call, that's main engine cutoff. We've got good energy, meaning a good velocity for continuing to orbit, and a good plane, meaning Starliner's trajectory is aligned with the International Space Station for rendezvous tomorrow.
And with that, Butch Wilmore and Sunny Williams returned to orbit. Individually, they are both extremely experienced astronauts.
14:5 to 14:52.
14:52.
They're both very experienced astronauts with a combined total of 489 days in space between them. Starliner is also the third spacecraft that they've launched in. Both have traveled to the International Space Station via space shuttles and Soyuz and are now well on their way to repeating the journey via Starliner. It's also worth noting that Williams' role as pilot marks the first time that a woman has crewed a flight test of an orbital spacecraft.
Just a few seconds ago, you heard Capcom Joshua Kutrick calling up to Butch and Sunny. With the expected time, Starliner will separate from Centaur at about 14 minutes, 52 seconds into flight, just under 2 minutes from now, or 1 minute from now.
That is actually the last major milestone for Starliner's ascent. All the hard work is done, but we need for Starliner to be flying on its own before it can begin heading towards the International Space Station. There's a slight pause in the action here while Centaur repressurizes and does some attitude control. We'll get into the right orientation to send Centaur on its way and then jettison it and move into the right orientation for the orbital insertion burn, which will come about 31 minutes into flight.
No action on the cabin temp, Starliner.
No action.
And about 10 seconds until an expected launch vehicle separation.
LV-SEP confirmed.
Good LV-SEP.
And now that Starliner has separated from this Centaur upper stage, we have a big thank you to our partners at ULA, providing Butch and Sunny a